All right. Welcome to Finding Heroes in Business, a weekly podcast about spotlighting those people that are making a real impact in the community, a real impact on and you and I. My name is Rob Herget. I'm the host of the podcast, founder and president of BoostYourBusiness.com. And we have a very special guest today. Her name is Julia Garcia Devaney, and she is making a huge impact in her community, and particularly with ladies out there. Welcome to the show, Julia. Tell us a little bit about you and what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Julia Garcia Devaney. I'm a life and mindset coach for ambitious women, female founders. I really love to just help them elevate their mindset, really prioritize their wellness, and elevate their self-confidence as well. Just helping them get to the next level in all facets.
Tell us a little bit about how you're doing that. What's that look like?
Yeah, so I do mostly one-on-one coaching, and I also have kind of a more group community that I'm running now. And it's just really for women to understand their mindset, learn how to work it, and also learn how to, prioritize their wellness and really give themselves that permission and, being okay with asking for that support. So that's kind of in layman's terms, and that's the kind of the containers that I work with them. But yeah, so they're all usually ambitious women. They all usually have kind of ambitious mindsets. They, you could say they're high achievers as well. So I really help them kind of, decondition some of those things society has put on it, and, help them really take care of their mind, their body, and themselves at the same time while they, strive for that success, and ultimately so that they can be really able to find that fulfillment on the other side of that success.
How long have you been doing this?
About 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what motivated you to start this business? What was your journey like before you got here?
Yeah, I think I still am an ambitious girl myself. And I just realized really, how that mindset really played a big role in terms of my happiness and my fulfillment. And I started with, a Pilates practice. So I was in the wellness industry before this. And once I had, my babies and stuff like that, I went online and I realized I had such a bigger platform that I didn't have to kind of limit myself to an amazing tool, which is fitness, and that, really allows people to develop skills that I'm really passionate about, including mindset. So I realized that I could kind of broaden my reach and broaden the things that I talk about and do with coaching. So I really didn't understand that it existed before. I thought it was just something that Tony Robbins could do, and I didn't realize that regular people could do it. So yeah, once I got online, it was just, I went on from there.
So tell me in your type of business and specifically your business, how do you define success? I mean, besides, financially, what does success look like for you?
For me personally, I have defined success for myself, and that's what I, encourage my clients to do as well, because I think that we have a lot of, influences growing up of what it's supposed to look like and who can have it, right? So for me, it's basically what I have now, which is an amazing family that I get to prioritize, and a passionate business that I get to, really, expand my own passion and mind with. That's really what that is. And yeah, just living a life that feels amazing more often than not. I think that, a lot of people have this idea that once you are successful, quote unquote, that you will never feel negative emotions or things like that, but that's just not the case. The truth is that emotions and negative thoughts are just part of our daily existence as human beings, because it's just how our brain is set up. But if we can, learn to work with our minds and work with our stories, our programming, however you want to call it, then we can, find more happiness than not, more like 50-50 versus like 80-20, which is what how most people are living right now.
Well, wouldn't you agree that you actually in business you've got to have failure to really have huge success? I mean, I think it's the failure that brings in the success. We learn by our failures. So
Yeah, well,
just
that's
having that
inevitable.
mindset.
But it's funny how you equate happiness to like not failing, or like just feeling that failure. I believe that, of course, failure is part of the process. It's inevitable. And I actually define failure as fuel to your own alignment in business. But the power in understanding your emotions and learning how to process them, and also understanding your thoughts and learning how to manage those, is that you can feel any emotion, including failure, and still go out, come out successful in the end. Like, that's the power. It's not that you're never going to feel it. It's that you can feel it and come out in the end better than how you went in, right? You've alchemized that failure, and hopefully you've learned from it, and that you can align yourself to, a better way of doing business, or a better way of being, or whatever it is that you learned from that.
I think that's phenomenal. So you consciously made a decision that you are working uh, with women out there rather than women and men. What was part of that decision process? What made you want to really focus in on helping women?
Yeah, I think that, obviously personally, I can understand the journey firsthand. So I can play both a coaching role and a mentor role. I think coaching as a business in general is very unique in terms of like other industries, because, it's, although we can be objective to a lot of the things that come up, it's still a bit personal. So I've realized that the more I have kind of processed any of the things that I have gone through, the better I can help my clients, because I've already kind of come out through the end, right? It's kind of like that hero's journey. Like, like if with any product, it's like, oh, I had this problem. I developed this product, and now my problem is solved. So I feel like with coaching, it's so unique, and I haven't thought this out completely yet, but it is different. And I'm kind of forming my own thoughts in terms of how this industry really differs a lot from regular other business, industries in business. But so I do feel a lot more confident in the fact that I can help women specifically, because I understand their mind and their journey just more intimately in general. And then also, because I understand that, I have so much more passion in helping women, because I just feel like I've lived in a certain way for so long, and I realized that I didn't have to, so I'm, within that comes passion, where it's like, okay, like, and with passion, anything, you're just kind of like unstoppable, right? You're really on a mission, and you can get other people behind that mission. And then that's when you build, something super successful. So it just comes from a very passionate place, and also a place of complete understanding.
It's really interesting. Back years ago when I was married, I decided I wanted to go to a psychologist because we were going through some relationship issues, and I specifically wanted to go to a woman psychologist because I wanted that woman's point of view. I wanted her to, I guess to kind of see if I was to, who not who is to blame, but at least get that
to blame.
at least get that woman's perspective, because we all do have a I don't know if you call it a bias, but we're living our own lives. So I have a man's point of view, a woman has a woman's point of view, and in this case, I wanted the woman's point of view. So I understand where you're coming from, because you are living it yourself. You've been living it yourself. That's really interesting, and I will tell you this: after 40 years in business, for those women out there in the business world that maybe are lacking confidence or anything regarding equality, I can tell you as a business owner, and I own 15 businesses, a sharp woman can rule the world, in my opinion. She can have anything she wants to, as long as she goes out there and follows her dreams and does her thing. But a sharp woman, I would hire no offense, men, but I would hire a sharp woman over a sharp man any day. There's just something in business that a really sharp woman has a huge advantage. And I just, I want to say that as a man, because I have met many women out there that have not felt that yet. And it's important that they feel that.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, like women's brains are just set up differently than men's brains, and in some cases, it's just very beneficial to business. Just the way we are able to, like, men are very like kind of singularly focused, and we're kind of multi-focused, or even it's not even focused, like, to be honest with you. It's more so just we are able to be drawn to many different areas at once. So definitely like managerial roles and things like that are, it's just what we're just naturally good at it. It just comes from our ancient brains. Our brains have not changed too much over the centuries, only to basically learn languages. And, they come with a very specific wiring that has had to, and now, like, I feel like we are opening ourselves up to just start adapting to those brains with this life that we have now, because I think that for many years people just have lived with, certain things like anxiety and things like that that are caused from these brains and from normal, from this day and age, that our brains were just not set up for what's going on right now with, like, technology and society and stuff like that. So I appreciate you saying that. And I think many women are getting finally those seats at the table, and being able to, show what their worth is in this kind of space and industry. And I also want to, couple that with the fact that it's still very different for men and women, when it comes to the household, when it comes to other, demands in life. And women are just kind of carrying it and holding it all, while, because that's just how the way we're just biologically, we have to do all those things.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with men and women being
and
different.
I just want to have more women be able to harmonize between those different priorities and passions that they have. And I think that's the key.
That's what I was going to ask you was, do you get into motherhood and business? I mean, it's,
what's funny is that for a long time, I thought that I wanted to just focus on, I mean, we need to have a focus, right? Well, like when you come to me, you're going to say, like, okay, I have this money goal, or I have this goal of some kind of success, right? Like, I want to achieve some kind of success. You have some kind of goal, because that's what really coaches do. Is they're very different than therapists, where you kind of talk about it. In coaching, we kind of be about it. So it's like we have a forward focus. And for a long time, I've chosen, business goals. But the funny thing is like it never just stays in business, because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I always talk about both life and business. And so now I've just kind of fully accepted my role as a life and mindset coach for women entrepreneurs. So nothing is off the table. They can talk to me about anything that they want, because it's likely if they're having communication problems with their team, they're also having communication problems with their kids. Or if they're having, whatever problems in business, they're also having it with their spouse or whatever it is. So like, it's a way to holistically kind of just live a better life while you do, while you are a woman entrepreneur, while you're doing business, because I think it's about, success is also about like fulfillment and like not sacrificing your health and your happiness just to achieve something. So we really look at your relationship with success, your relationship with motivation, because a lot of that is, kind of programmed in as well, which was something that was, again, eye-opening to me to understand about myself, that I was just programmed, this ambition. Part of it is personality for sure. Because I have a 3-year-old, and trust me, this girl wants to win. And I'm like, who hurt you? You know what I mean? You're only 3. So, and I looked into it, and part of it is personality. Then the other part of it is a lot of conditioning, where people, like, you might know this, is that a lot of entrepreneurs, they really have this chip on their shoulder sometimes, something to prove, something to validate, survival mode. A lot of, immigrants, kids and stuff like that, they all have, the survival proving kind of thing that is happening that's fueling them. And I
Right.
really like to look at that and understand. I want, other ambitious women to understand that you can still be fueled by positive things, that you don't need to lose your edge, but you also don't necessarily need to be fueled by negative things.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I don't know if you know the name Dan Sullivan. He goes by the entrepreneurial coach. He's extremely well known. In fact, one of his clients is the who was the motivational speaker you just brought up.
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins is one of his clients. He's
Oh,
out
wow.
of Toronto,
Nice.
Canada, and I was fortunate enough to be able to hire him for 3 years. And one of his things is with entrepreneurs is we beat ourselves up. We are not good at getting work out to others as far as delegating. We kind of take control. And
Yes.
he shared a stat that very few children of entrepreneurs become entrepreneurs because of that, because we beat ourselves up, we work too hard. And he talks about walking towards a horizon. Instead of looking at everything as, did I meet my goals? Is it black and white? Have you ever walked toward the horizon? You're never going to get there. And the bigger your
Yeah.
goals are, the farther that horizon is. So he talks about, look where you started, look where you are, and every day look at that progress, and every day you will be successful. And
Yeah,
I have a
it's
passion for entrepreneurship, whether it's women, men, whoever, and that's always
same.
stuck out to me.
Yeah, it's definitely about, and like literally, if we can, in a nutshell, like that's what I do, is about how to enjoy the process, how to actually enjoy the journey, because where you're starting is point A and where you supposedly want to end up is point B. And those are just two blips in time. Really, what it is like that whole space in between. And so if you're just so focused on getting to point B, then you miss the majority of your life. And then when you get there, it's likely like, what you're explaining right now is like you're trying to build a house without actually building a home. So a lot of people get there, and like that's why their kids are, they lose their relationship with their kids. They have no home. They might have a house, they might have a big house, they might have a few houses, but they didn't build a home. You know what I mean? And I think that that's the key, right? And because we're so fixated on that point B, we miss that journey. So literally, so much of my work is like mindfulness, paying attention to like celebrating the progress, and those celebrations are what keep you in the game, are what allow you to keep going. To achieve that point, we're just evolving human beings. There's always going to be another point B and a C and a D. Like it doesn't stop, because we as humans don't stop. We are evolving. If we are not evolving, then we're dying, right? So like we have to go forward, and there's nothing wrong with wanting more and wanting to do more and be more. It's who we are. We're supposed to. We're here to create all of that for ourselves, right? But if we lose sight of our present, then like I said, you build a house but you don't build a home.
And typically, from my experience, when I ever focused on strictly the goal and not enjoying the journey along the way, even when I hit that goal, I was never satisfied. It's like I sometimes get into conversations about relationships. If you don't fall in love with the soul of somebody, they're never going to be enough. If your
Of
life is
course,
only
yeah.
about a goal, you're going to reach that, or perhaps you reach that goal. It's never enough. It's not like, oh, okay, now I'm thrilled to death, because there
No,
was
the
no
truth
enjoyment
is
along
the
the way.
only reason you want that goal is to feel a certain way. It is the only reason. It's because it's going to make you feel a certain way, or, you think it's going to make you be a certain way, or whatever it is. But truthfully, like I always ask my girls, like, okay, like what, how are you going to feel when you get that goal? They all say excited. And I really I deter them from, really saying that excitement, right? Because I'm like, you're not going to feel excited, because by the time you get there, you will already be the person who has that goal. So it's not like you're going to be winning the lottery. Maybe for like a split second, you're like, oh, I got it. Like, but then like, that's it. Then there's something else, right? And I'm like, the time to be excited is on the way there. The time to be excited is like progress. Oh my God, another progress. Oh my God, that's excitement, right? So the only reason you want that point B, that goal, that result, whatever it is to feel a feeling. And the fact is, you have the ability to feel that feeling every day that you want up until you get that thing. And actually, the more you feel that feeling that you are striving to feel, whether it's freedom, whether it's joy, whether it's fulfillment, whether it's accomplishment, you like the more you feel that feeling daily, the faster that goal becomes, the faster you can get to that goal, the more the closer that goal gets to you anyway, because you are just, not to get too woo on you, but then you are just already, it's like already, like you already have it. So I teach a lot of mindfulness, a lot of meditation, things like that, a lot of different tools that help you get, like, change your state essentially to be at the level of frequency of those emotions that you want to feel, right? Not the lower level emotions. The lower level emotions cause a lot of resistance.
Yeah, no, I think that's really interesting. Do you get into the fact that particularly with larger goals, you have to become that person that
Exactly.
can attain that. It's most of us are not the people we need to be to hit some of the things that we want to do or attract relationships, attract opportunities, whatever it may be.
Absolutely. Yeah. I help them really step into that next level version of themselves. It's a self concept thing. And I teach this through rituals, through the daily habits that people do. So, I created a whole method, a whole system to really implement rituals, habits, things like that on a daily basis that the person that has that goal would have and do, including standards, including boundaries, including all of the things, because it's not just about how you look or that you meditate every day. It's like it's what that process allows you to do, which is develop boundaries and develop, certain standards and you're practicing every single day with repetition, being that person. So essentially, like, you are just practicing being them every single day, and then lo and behold, you're at the goal, and then you are the person who has that thing. Because if you're not the person who has the goal, then you would not have the goal.
Does it scare most of them, or does it excite them? To me, anytime I think about it, it excites me. It excites me to know that I have to grow to get where I want to be. I would think it might
Yeah,
scare a lot of people.
you and I are unique beings where we, like, look at growth and we're like, yes, because it's very uncomfortable. If you have practiced making uncomfortable feel comfortable, then you will be excited, right? And that takes some time for people to develop that, right? Because it takes a little, because you are excited about it because you trust yourself that you can do that, because you have other successes to build on. And that's also why I teach habits like working out, or little things, little commitments that you can, hold yourself accountable to build on in terms of success. Because a lot of people, the only, like, there's a saying that's like, the only people that like change is a baby with a dirty diaper, because change is very uncomfortable. So, yes and no, like, they get excited about the ultimate result, but again, it's finding joy in that process that sometimes is the challenge. And, like, that's like that messy middle kind of thing. That's kind of where I come in, because it's like that's where a lot of people need that more, that accountability and that support and that reassurance. And it's like it's like belief, right? When you don't have it, when you don't have that trust in yourself, that, okay, I'm gonna go get it, and I'm actually gonna get it. Especially when you're going after big goals, right? It's like you're lifting, 50 pounds of belief. Sometimes that's hard, but if you have somebody else to help you lift a little bit, they'll remind you that you can start with 5 and then you can go on to 10, like, just like a personal trainer. But it's like a trainer for belief, until
Right.
you just believe it enough on the way there until you have it. That's it. It's like you got
Let,
to hold that vision.
let me ask you something. It's because I've always been curious about this. In your experience, this will be a generalization. Do you find that women, their goals and their dreams and aspirations, when it comes to business and so forth, are they in line with men? Are they bigger than men's dreams and goals and aspirations? Are they maybe a little less and just a little more even keel? What's your experience there? You just made me think of that. Or is that
Sure.
too
I mean, that's an interesting
generalization?
question. I'm a part of like a lot of women, female founder communities and stuff like that. And, when I hear them speak about their companies that they like these women are building amazing, huge companies. Like, I don't see their aspirations being any different than men. Um, at all, really. I think that they just know going into it they're probably going to have to be able to hold so much more than men, because again, there's a different responsibility that they have, especially if they want to become mothers, if they want to have a household to also take care of as well. And that's just the facts. Like, there's just no way to like really sugarcoat that, is that they just have different responsibilities. I think men have different pressures, but ultimately they can just not be around, you know?
I think I heard on a movie one time, men have choices, women have responsibilities. I don't know if that's
That's
true
a
or
really
not,
good
but
way to put it.
one of the things that I have always held on to, I was very fortunate to have a kind of a one-on-one, probably about 30, 45 minutes with Bob Proctor, if you know the name Bob
Ooh,
Proctor.
yes. Yeah,
He
yeah.
was kind of the leader of the Secret. He was the narrator in that movie. If you've seen him, he's kind of the Tony Robbins of Canada, and sadly he passed away last year.
Yes.
But Bob Proctor, I really loved his messages, and his big message that I have held on to for years is that dreams, you should be dreaming to the point where you have no idea how you can attain that dream. If you can figure out how to attain your dreams, that dream is only about you. If you dream
Mm,
so big that you have no idea how it's going to happen, you know it's going to happen, and you know maybe what pieces are going to be needed and involved, but you have no idea how it's going to be done. Now it's about others. And I just
uh-huh.
love that, because dreams really should be about, this show is about people who are making an impact. And if it's just about ourselves, then, our impact is limited. If our dreams are so big that we don't know how to do it, and it's going to involve other people and hopefully achieving their dreams, now it's about others. And I just love that.
Yeah, so going back to like what you asked me before as well, just to tie it all in together, women's dreams, like from what I've like the women that I have encountered, they all have a very, and I don't know how exactly this is differentiated through men, but because women just have different qualities, right? They're much more compassionate, they're much more empathetic. So the businesses that they want to build are very what I call impactful. And it makes me like, sometimes it brings me to tears when I talk to really women that want to be entrepreneurs and they want to get their idea out there, because they're all impact, like the social mission is like first almost before like
Right.
even the financial, right? And it's very interesting. So the difference is that sometimes women, although they probably have the best businesses to build, because they have the most impact in this, that they will likely have the most impact in this world because of just their natural tendency to be more empathetic, more compassionate, more caring, just as women, just like as women. That's just the way our brains are set up. Like biologically, we just have to do that in order to have children and whatever. And unfortunately, we also have something else that makes us almost resistant to help. Like, for some reason, we have this tendency to think that we have to do it all on our own. And then when we realize we can't do all of the things that we want to do, we shut down. They shut down, right? So, like, they see like the big picture and they're just like, there's just no way. And that's where the dreams die, right? So, if I can help more women understand that, number one, they are capable and they can also be capable of being supported. Nobody does things on their own. Men don't do things on their own. I watched my husband get plenty of support and mentorship and help, and he accepts it and receives it and asks for it powerfully and openly. right? And women are not like that. For some reason, women are just more like, oh no, like, they have these other limitations, in mindset wise, that they feel almost like inadequate if they have to ask for help. And that's the thing that I want to change in terms of women's mindset is that you can do it all and you can have it all, just not at the same time and just not by yourself. You have to be able to ask for that support powerfully, confidently, and receive that support.
And part of that's being an entrepreneur, and part of that goes back to beating ourselves up. We are, as entrepreneurs, we typically, and probably the huge percentage, are terrible delegators. And honestly,
Yes.
going back to Dan Sullivan, the entrepreneur coach, his big thing is we all have unique abilities. My unique ability is big picture. Sales, kind of schmoozing with people, relationships. I am not a detail person, and as an entrepreneur, if one of your biggest investments is not the greatest assistant who has all of the unique abilities you
Yes.
don't have, it's very difficult. I mean, unless you're a one-person shop and that's just the way it is. But if you're hiring employees, one of your big investments should be an assistant who does things that you don't do well.
Yeah, and that's about trust too, as well, right? You can trust yourself enough that you can trust that you can hire the right people to be in that role. You can relinquish some of that control. Entrepreneurs, like they just, especially if it's like their baby and stuff like that, their business baby, and like they've nurtured it all the way to teenage years or whatever. Like sometimes it's hard to really release that control, but when you do, you realize that you open yourself up to more of what you are good at, more of your genius, which is for you, big picture, or just like in terms of passion and driving and guiding and that vision forward. You don't need to do every other little thing, and you have to be able to be okay with, which is also probably hard for entrepreneurs, not being the best at that one specific role anymore,
Right.
maybe like that you're delegating. It's like, it's okay that somebody else might be better just in this role, than you. Like, that's okay. Like, they get to focus on that, and that opens you up to create more, which is what you do as an entrepreneur. You're creating your vision.
But one of the things, particularly women, should understand, because again, women are more compassionate, and is that those, like my assistants through the years, that they knew their unique ability, and it wasn't the leader of the company. It was helping the leader of the company, and in some ways, and I could see it. The more I gave them a responsibility, the more I could see it, that they were now living their dreams, even though to me that wouldn't have been my dream, because I like to control things. I like to have control my own destiny. But to them, that was their dream, because that was their kind of unique ability and what they were comfortable in, and letting people do their responsibility wherever it is and level in a company, is letting them fulfill what they're looking to do as well, which I would think would be a huge asset for women.
Yeah. I mean, like, we have to understand as entrepreneurs that not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. It's just
Right.
like that's sometimes what we think, that there's people that want to come in, do a great job, and clock out, and just have a purpose within an organization, and just be really good at their role and their job, and not have to be the creator of like this huge thing. Like, the people don't want to do that because they have other passions or other focuses, and like that's totally fine. We need employees as entrepreneurs to carry out the vision that we have, and those roles are completely valuable, and they're for somebody, for sure.
Valuable and necessary. You used the word passion, and I was thinking that word in my mind at the time. I remember being in Atlanta airport, and in Atlanta they have lots of little restaurants, kind of open air, and you kind of just sit in one area. And there was a young kid, he was probably, I don't know, 17, 18 years old, and he was wiping down tables, and he was doing it with such passion and a smile on his face. It actually, I mean, it made me notice him, and I asked him to come over, and I just started chatting with him, and he was in awe regarding entrepreneurship, and he's like, oh my gosh, that's what I want to do. Can you give me tips or whatever? I gave him literally a big tip in money, which he loved, but he took such pride in what he was doing, whereas most people that would not have been the case, and he was glad to do it because he was providing value to all of us out there. He was keeping a clean environment, and I'd love
And
to
not
know
just
where.
that, but just such a pleasant like people that are passionate about what they do, and even if it's not, even if they don't even, I doubt he's passionate about it. I'm sure he has integrity with however he spends his time or whatever he does, and that characteristic, that quality is going to get him far. It will get him to his next step will
That's
be.
exactly what I told him. I told him the same thing. I said, just, follow your dreams, follow what you're looking to do. But with him, I honestly think he was passionate about what he was doing. I think he just liked providing
As an
that
ex
value and
waitress, let me
getting
tell you, he was, as an ex waitress, let me tell you, he's probably not passionate about wiping tables. He just had he just has a value of integrity with what he does. So he's going to find joy in what he does, and that's going to exude passion. And yeah.
and it goes hand in hand with all of what we do. If I tell people all the
100%.
time, if you are not passionate about what you're doing, you better
So
go find
much, yeah.
something else to do, because you're just wasting your life if you're not passionate about it.
100%.
And so when these women are coming to you, are at all different stages? Are they starting out? Or are they already very involved in
It's
their
at
business?
any
Or
level, any
okay.
level, because like especially those transition levels where it's like, okay, like, you're always kind of in transition technically, but it
Hmm.
causes, like we mentioned before, all growth causes some kind of friction. So when you see that you want to go to another level, or you want to scale, or you want to start, or whatever it is, like it causes that friction, it causes that resistance, and it's very useful and valuable even to like have that support during that time to really help you, elevate to that next level, elevate your mindset, not sacrifice those things like your mind, your body, and yourself. And then, understand what it is to be that person. Like, what is the self-concept version of that person, and how do you step into that person? So it doesn't matter what level you're at. I would say that in the beginning, there is quite a big jump and a lot of resistance, and like, it's just like any momentum that you build, right? All the momentum and all is like at the beginning, right? And then and all the work is like, it feels really tough in the beginning, like even when a rocket shoots up, right, all that energy is exuded like more in the beginning, and once you kind of get up, it's more so just like making sure that you're on the right trajectory, right? Or like a fast car where like one pebble can like spin it out or whatever. It's more like you're already going fast when you're up there at that level, and you just want something, you just want people to check your blind spots and make sure that you're in the right trajectory, because one little off course, right, can land you in a whole different country.
Yeah, no, it's I've done TED Talks regarding social entrepreneurship, and a big part of it is your own internal mission statement, and that vision of what you're looking to do and who you are. Your DNA has got to be huge when you're starting a business, because you are going to get a lot of rejections, and if your commitment and your vision is not strong enough, it's going to be really difficult, starting out. Even when you're doing it as long as you and I have. I'm 40 years in business, and I've always owned my own business.
Yeah, I
It's
think you got some years on me for
it's
sure.
it's yeah, no, I have,
I
and,
would
and
say
a
I'm
little
still
little
baby.
less hair, and it's but I mean, that it's that vision, and that mission statement inside that really keeps you going, and that's got to be strong.
Yeah, I help my girls establish their own mission statement, like they're just personal one. And in my work and mindset, we work with values quite a bit, because they're part of the subconscious mind. It's part of your programming, your values, your beliefs, things like that. So we really want to understand what's there, understand what could be holding you back, because if your values are not aligned with your goals, then you'll always be self-sabotaging. So really like cross-referencing your values, your goals, and your mission, and really establishing a very unique mission to make sure that those things are aligned, will help you get there, and they'll be conducive.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome because if your mission statement is not involving compassion and so forth, you can't start nonprofits. You can't have
Oh yeah, no,
conflicting.
of course
Who you
not.
are can't conflict with what you're doing. Otherwise, life will be miserable and it won't be successful
There'll be so
regardless.
much resistance, there'll be so much sabotage, you literally won't be able to do it. It's like, why, like, if understanding your values as a person is very beneficial. If I could recommend one thing, is at least start there. Because again, like, if you like, going back to like the one of the first examples that we used, right, is like, if your family value is not, is like, and health value is below success value, then you're always going to be sacrificing those things in order to, have success. So you just want to decide, like, if that's really what you want to be. And it doesn't mean that one always trumps the other, right? This is how I help a lot of women harmonize between their priorities, right? Because I don't really believe in balance. I feel like it's a harmonization of what needs your attention the most in what specific time, and that's how you make very fast and powerful decisions. And so just knowing that the values don't trump each other, it's just which one needs the most of your energy and focus in this very moment, and then do that. And it's a harmony. It's not like, the values, if you want to look at it as a list, they just kind of go up and down and up, and they move up and down
That's
on the list
interesting.
depending on where your focus is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting. I've never heard. Can you share a success story that's blown you away in your activities with helping?
A lot of the what really blows me away is just the level of, like, it's just creating something versus not. Like, mindset really is the difference of, it's like success or not success, but then sometimes it's just like bringing something to fruition to not. For me, I don't have any like huge, like, because I don't focus on a lot of like money goals, like very like impressive tangible things, right? But the fact that the my work will ripple in the lives of these people and these women and in their families and in their businesses, to me, is, I know the ripple effect because I've seen it in my own life. And I know that what they're going to create with this new understanding of where their success is coming, that where their fuel is coming from, where their motivation is coming from, when they realize that their thoughts and emotions are basically creating their results, like those, like watching those breakthroughs are, I don't know how to explain it, but they're very fulfilling to me, and like hearing those, like the feedback on, just how they are spending time with their family and the qualities of their relationship and just the happiness on their journey. To me, like, that's what it is, because that's my job, that's what I'm going for. Like, do I really care if they lose a bunch of weight or gain earn a bunch of money? I think that those are just byproducts. So I am in the business of celebrating the progress, so they're usually little wins. And I feel like that's what people don't celebrate enough. It's like the chicken and broccoli you ate for like the fifth day in a row, like that nobody celebrates, when you are on a mission to really have a healthy body. And I feel like that's what needs to be highlighted.
Can you share any drawbacks, any difficulties that you've had as an entrepreneur yourself? Has there been a point that you were held back, or bad decisions on where your business was going? Just for those that are maybe thinking about starting something, anything that's
Yeah,
happened to
I
you over the
think
last
that
couple of
in the
years.
especially in the beginning of my business, I think it's just natural. I don't know if they're going to be able to avoid it or not. But, when you are just starting a business, you're really in consumption mode because you're just like, I want to learn a lot. I want to learn everything I'm supposed to do, and things like that. And so because I was so, I guess you could say, coachable, I was a little bit, especially in the online world. When I had my brick and mortar, it was not like this. But in the online space, you're just so bombarded with so much marketing that you start thinking and feeling like, oh my God, I am doing something wrong. I am doing something wrong. I am doing something wrong. And you offload that power to outside sources. You think somebody else has the answer and things like that. But I feel like if I would have known and realized sooner that there's like no right or wrong way, really. It's just your way. And like the more you can get in tune with yourself, the more you understand what your road is and how, and like let your journey unfold day by day without the comparison, without the, without kind of offloading your power to other outside sources, So I think that that was major key. I think it would have saved me a lot of time if I was just like not exposed, I guess, too much. And if I was going to be exposed, having that awareness, like, oh, I'm exposed. Like all of this is just marketing.
As someone who owns a digital marketing agency, I can tell you there is a lot out there, and it's always changing. So,
Yes. The
it's
strategy is always changing. It's always a new strategy. And that's why I'm like, because again, like I work with women entrepreneurs, right? So we talk business and stuff like that, but I always tell them I don't have a strategy to sell you. I have a mindset strategy to probably sell you and educate you on. But it's like you always have the answer. Like, let me just lead you back to your own answers. Let me lead you back to your own inner knowing. And because entrepreneurship is a creative field, you are creating the ladder. You're not climbing anybody else's ladder, So let me lead you back to your truth, your authentic kind of business, your authentic journey of how you want to build this thing, how you want to feel along the way. And that, I think that's the most valuable thing. So
that's awesome. In your opinion, what qualities, characteristics would you say that define a hero in business? If you were looking at somebody, what makes them a hero in business, in your opinion?
I think somebody who is not just passionate, but purposeful. I think purposeful is a very strong emotion. It's what I tap into quite a bit to balance my entrepreneurship with like my mission, right? Because like sometimes you dip into the self when you're trying to succeed, quote unquote, right? You dip into the self and you forget about service. So I think always being able to tap into the emotion of purposeful always gets me back into service and not just self, right? Because I'm human, right? And
Right.
also running a business, like, you want it to be successful and stuff like that. So it's a really good way to tap into that. I think being purposeful for sure. And action oriented, believe it or not. There's a lot of talk in my industry where it's like, oh, you just, and you still have to take action. You have to take action. And I think a lot of people sit around in indecision and perfectionism and all sorts of things. So they have amazing ideas and amazing ways to impact the world, but they don't know how to be a doer. And I think as women sometimes, because we are very flowy, let's say, like I was a very flowy person too for a long time, and then I saw my husband.
I haven't heard that adjective before. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a very great quality, but if we can tap into a little bit more focus, a little bit more into that masculine energy of the doing, of like the focus of like flowing that energy into one specific place, I think that we become really unstoppable. So action is a big thing, and the right action, right? Because there's some people that again indulge in a lot of action and no results.
Right,
also,
right,
because
right.
again, they're missing the mindset component.
Okay, very cool. Well, let's kind of finish up. What's the vision for your future? What are you looking to expand? How are you evolving in your business? Where's your business headed?
Me, I'm really looking to build this community of ambitious women that really are on a mission to prioritize their self, their wellness, their mind, their body, and themselves, right? I think that there is a lot of masterminds out there to focus on business and stuff like that. But I think that there needs to be more of a focus on, the things that really fill us up as women, which is we have to take care of ourselves. It's the only way we are able to hold more and do more in that sense, right? So finding the value in taking care of yourself is super key. And I feel like that's the mission that I'm on right now, is like, what is possible when more ambitious women find the value in prioritizing their mind and body and selves. Like, that's what I want to find out. So I have an app right now called Get Zen AF, And it really is a community of women and I that are on that same mission. And I really help them with mindset coaching. Like we have weekly mindset coaching, group mindset coaching. You can learn from other people's coaching and questions and things like that. And within that, I have my own concepts, my own like course and stuff like that that really helps you build that consistency and motivation towards your goals and building better habits. It teaches you how to prioritize your wellness, what those wellness elements are, so you know that you're always getting what you need every single day. And it doesn't have to be an hour-long routine by any means. It could be just whatever you got, and that actually helps you be more spacious and expand those resources more of time, money, and energy, which is usually everybody's number one excuse. So that's the mission I'm on. And they can download it in the App Store right now. And I think it's still at a founding members price. And I think it's a ridiculous no-brainer price.
And share the app again.
Get ZenAF.
Terrific. And we will include that in a link below the podcast. Julia, it has been a real pleasure having you on the show. I think it's been a really interesting conversation, and hopefully those that are listening got a lot out of it, and hopefully they will reach out to you, get your app, and let them fulfill their lives and what their dreams and aspirations are. Thank you very much for being on the show, and everybody that's listening, be a hero in your own world, be a hero in your business, and we want to showcase what you're doing out there as well. So thank you very much. Everybody have a fantastic week, and until next week, finding heroes in business.
Recording stopped.
I loved it.
Yeah, me too. That's so interesting.